Where the fuck is Bugs? If there's no Bugs Bunny, then this shit isn't Warner Brothers. Yeah, so that's kind of what I expect now, that we know that copyright's won. So, Netflix finally released the first 12 episodes of Stone Ocean. And, what can I say? I mean, this is the 6th part. We've already been watching for 5 parts already, so you should already know what to expect. The fights, bloody, brutal. The dialogue and character interactions, just like Araki does it. Everyone's as eccentric as ever. The level of quality has only been increasing with each part David Pro has made. A few sentiments that I agree with that I've heard all around are how good the visuals look. The music choices, Poochie's theme and Weather's theme, top tier. And while we're talking about the music, I want to talk about that ending. That caught me pretty off guard. At first I almost didn't recognize it, but it's Dreamer. And I think it would be perfect, but more so for the end of the part. And I don't really want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't read it, but let's just say that the somber tone of the later half would greatly benefit from this song. I mean, damn, they even got the visuals too. And the voice acting. In my last video, I voiced a little bit of concerns over Poochie's voice, but then again, it came out fantastic. And Whitesnake's voice was a pleasant fucking surprise. I didn't really know what to expect other than like just a generic deep voice, but that actually sounded pretty menacing. And the sound design's pretty phenomenal too. When we first see Emporio stand burning down the house, when they first go in, that just sounded beautiful. And the fight with Jumpin' Jack Flash, you can hear when those things spin, again, fantastic. My main guy, Anasue, didn't really get any screen time, but then again, that's just how it is in the manga. And like every other part David Pro's done, extremely faithful. The shortcuts taken are necessary. I mean, there's some lines in here that age pretty poorly, so it's understandable why they take them out, or they could just be controversial in general. For the first couple episodes, I was prepping myself on how they were gonna do the Visitors arc. In the manga, that one goes in pretty deep, and I was sure that some people might come out pretty confused. But the way that they did it in the anime was actually really smart. The way that the droplets signify the change of one dream to another really makes it a lot easier to follow. And while I already read the manga years ago, I was watching this with my brother, and he hadn't watched this before, so the second we got there, I liked the look on his face when he was wondering about all that crazy Inception bullshit that was going on. There were some people that were going to be worried about Jotaro's character design and how he changed, maybe his head's bigger. If you watch the show, he looks so much better in motion. I mean, plus, he's only there for 2 episodes, but he's got some of the best character designs that he's ever had. My brother was telling me that he preferred this version than the Part 4 version. But I think somehow, I gotta agree, he looks like a perfect mix between Parts 4 and 3. Look at the character designs. They don't look human half the time. But then again, you can chop that up to, oh, it takes place in Florida, so it makes sense. As a native Floridian, I would say that it's pretty good overall. It's pretty accurate. I mean, look at that. They got palm trees and buildings. Yeah, I mean, you can say it looks like South Florida. If you want to look at something that's always been 100% faithful and consistent in quality overall, just point them towards this series. Many studios could probably learn from this show. I'm one of the few people that will actually admit that they love the manga. So when people say that the pacing's better in the anime, I say, sure, it goes quicker, but I don't really notice the difference. For me, it's more of the effect of just them being able to be on screen. It's just something that gives more depth to the manga. And as expected, the Japanese dub is fantastic. But here's where we can get a little bit into like the nitpick territory. Like I said before, there's almost nothing wrong with this adaptation. It's fucking perfect. But then, there's the American dub. I've only seen clips of it because I don't watch almost anything dubbed, but it really sometimes sounds lacking. Or maybe not lacking, maybe just, you know, bad. And that just might be biased on my part, since I don't watch anything dubbed. Then there's the CGI aspect. You can tell this season they were a lot more liberal with their use of CGI. Like in Part 5, you can see that they sometimes use it on the stands when they're doing an ability or something. But here, there's whole stretches of scenes where the CGI is pretty obvious, and while it really doesn't detract anything from the story side, it just looks a little undercooked. This only leads me to believe that further on, once we get to, you know, Steel Ball Run, those horses, man, that ain't gonna be pretty. I mean, if those horses all turn out to be CGI, I'm gonna cry, and that's gonna be an ugly cry. Yeah, from those 3D models, there's already some memes out already, and you can tell that there's probably gonna be many more. That frog already spinning in the air. It's wonky, but not bad. I don't know if Netflix is gonna keep doing this batch kind of style, but I don't know. I don't really like it. I think it really deteriorates the community aspect of things. You know, JoJo Fridays is a staple in the anime community. You would sit down and then watch an episode of like Golden Wind, and then you just talk about it on like Reddit, Crunchyroll, whatever site that it came on, or people are talking about it on the forums. I think that community aspect really helped the show grow its audience. And with the episodes being released in chunks, kind of ruins it. But that's no fault of the show itself, that's just the fault of Netflix doing whatever it does, you know? Well, from here on, it's only going to get crazier and crazier with the stand battles, the abilities, and what the characters are just going to be doing all together. The story's also going to hit the gas. And when it does that, if you're not hooked already by these 12 episodes, you will then. There's going to be still a lot to talk about on this show, and I just wanted to give a brief overview of what I thought. It's incredibly solid, and if you were a JoJo fan, if you're still a JoJo fan, you're going to like this. But don't start here, and don't tell anyone to start here. They're going to be incredibly confused. Nothing's really going to add up to anything, and that really wouldn't benefit them in the slightest. So, see you next time when we see if they're going to release another batch or, you know, a few episodes normally. Till then.